Hello everyone, welcome to my first video in my new sort of series that I call Chat and Color. These are going to be my bonus videos that I will release occasionally on Mondays or Tuesdays. In this video, I'm coloring this beautiful digital stamp with cherry blossoms. I'm using the Zig Clean Color Real Brush watercolor markers from Kuretake, and the image I'm coloring I printed on an A5 cardstock. But at the end of this video, I will also show you the card that I made. And the topic for the chat portion of this video is what I dislike about things that are related to cards and card making. Nothing too dramatic. But before we get to that, let me first talk a little bit about the coloring. As I said, I'm using a digital stamp. It's from a set I bought on Etsy in the shop Dream Flare Studios. The link will be in the description. And I chose the Zig Real Brush markers for the coloring. I uploaded a video last week where I swatched them out. I will leave the link to it in the description as well. To color the flowers, I used two shades of pinks. One is completely enough, and I also used Carmine Red and Natural Beige. I started with a darker pink and I colored the middle of the flower. Then I took the red and darkened the inside of the middle of the flower. This is optional, but I thought it helps the look. Next, I used the second pink. It's called light pink, and I applied it along the darker pink. And I blended the colors together. This is also optional. I just cannot say no if I have additional shade of a marker. And the pinks I also use for the darker shades of the petals. And lastly, I took the natural beige and I applied it on the rest of the petal. I was trying not to contaminate the colors too much, so I started at the top of the petal and then I blended the colors together. I like the color the pink and natural beige create, so it wasn't a big problem if the pink transferred over, but I like the beige as well, so I try to keep it visible as much as possible. The water brush I used here and there, mainly for blending. And I repeated this on all the petals. Later, when I will be coloring the stem and the leaves, for the stem I used a dark brown and beige, and for the leaves I used deep green and light green. I will leave the names of the exact markers I used in the description, and if you have any questions, just ask in the comments. And now, let's get into the chat portion of this video. As I said, the topic is things I dislike about card making, or more like things that are related to cards and card making, not card making itself, because this might be surprising, but I really love making cards. So I'm gonna start with more softer issues. The first thing is something I could say I actually hate, or at least really dislike. And that is the price of postage stamps. Because after I make the cards, I want to actually send them. But the postage is quite expensive. Okay, most of my cards I send abroad to another European country, and I know that's why it costs more, but I still think it's way too much. I live in Sweden and the postage stamp for cards costs 36 krona. This is between 3 to 3.30 in euro or dollars. For me, that's just too expensive. How much does it cost in your country to send cards abroad but within your continent? Let me know in the comments. I actually stopped sending cards for certain occasions like name days. I'm from Slovakia and we celebrate the name days. And normally I would send a card, but unfortunately I don't do that anymore. It's just sad. Since I'm talking about sending cards, another thing I dislike is writing the message or the wishes. Anyone the same? I love making the cards, but when I write a message, my wishes are just bland. Because I'm not really the sentimental and emotional type. When I'm writing in English, that's a bit better because I go on Google and find a few websites. And I use a few wishes and I put together something I would actually say. But when I'm writing in Slovak or German, that's just terrible. There are websites with wishes, but these are like limericks, rhymes, or poems. That's not me. I want something I would tell the person face to face. So I just struggle when I'm writing in my own language. And I just end up writing something really boring. I thought I will stop here with the topic of sending cards, but I have one more because it just happened. And that is Father's Day and Mother's Day. It's not the occasion itself, but the dates. I'm from Slovakia, my dad lives there, my mom and my husband's family live in Germany. I used to live in the UK and then in Ireland, where I actually started card making, and now I live in Sweden. So, what's the issue? The International Mother's Day is in May, which was actually last weekend, so happy Mother's Day to all the moms. In Slovakia, we celebrate it on this day, the same in the US, but in the UK and Ireland, it's celebrated in March. And the International Father's Day is sometime in June, which, by the way, my next card is going to be a Father's Day card. And Slovakia, US, and even the UK and Ireland are on the same page when it comes to this date. But in Germany, they celebrated 40 days after Easter on the Ascension Day. And Sweden is even more confusing. They celebrate both days on completely different days. Mother's Day is at the end of May, and Father's Day sometimes in the autumn. This is so confusing, especially the Father's Day in Germany for me. Why does it have to be around the same time as Mother's Day? For my channel and blog, I use the international dates. And then I look at my calendar and I realize, shoot, Father's Day in Germany is in the same week and I don't have a card. And by the way, the Father's Day card that I will have for you in my next video is that card that I made at last minute. So not to miss it, make sure you subscribe. Actually, I have one more topic related to sending cards. I'm not going to go in too much detail since there is not much time. I just came across it when I was searching on Google what people don't like about card making. I found nothing, by the way. I guess I'm the only one who moans. But in the results, there were people talking about not liking receiving cards. I know there are people who don't like sending cards, but receiving and especially complaining about receiving cards, that's just bizarre. I feel sorry for them. It must be truly such a pain to receive a card. But since I'm almost done with the coloring, I might read some of the complaints in another video because it's just ridiculous. And I also have a few more things that I can moan about when it comes to things I dislike about things that are related to card making. But since there is no more time, I might resume it in my next chat and color video. And let me know what you dislike about card making. It can be anything, not just what I talked about in this video. Alright, the coloring is done. Here is the finished piece. I really love it. I'm not sure I said it in this video, but this one is going to be framed and eventually I will hang it on my wall. And as I mentioned at the beginning, I also made a card with the same image, just smaller. And here is the card. The coloring is slightly lighter. And because when I printed it, it wasn't centered, I decided to fussy cut it and I adhered it with a foam tape so it's a little bit raised. And for the background, I used another cardstock and I blended the mustard seed distress ink along the edges, creating a highlight in the middle. And then I adhered the cherry blossom and the greeting, which says just for you. I adhered it on top of the panel, and then the whole thing I attached onto a white card base. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any topic to discuss, let me know in the comments. The image that I colored you can get through Etsy. The link is in the description. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And I will be back with another video very soon.